Welcome everyone to another Hold the Presses breaking news, evening news edition here on our open source low level Linux and stuff live channel. We did it, one more thing for 25 years, 4.5 years live on YouTube, and certainly since we wanted to release last October, but it is another record breaking and hopefully the fastest, most complete peak bug reduced Linux distribution release ever. And you have an exclusive 24 free hours of pre-testing that. So if you want to have latest GCC, glibc, Clang, Linux kernel and stuff, because yes, of course, I rebuilt it over the night here for all 33 build variants with 635, fixing among other things severe XFS metadata corruption. So among all the releases, so I will delay the announcement another day because one more thing. So you have a, as I said, free exclusive for my subscribers here of this amazingly supporting channel to download your favorite Alpha to x86 release. Please read the file names, right? 33 releases. It is easy to skip something. I can quickly go over those, what we have here. So T223 T2 SDE System Development Environment, aka the reference meta distribution. Some of my friends or subscribers call it the best, obviously supporting SGI Octane, P3, DEC Alpha, UltraSpark, PowerPC. 33 freaking variants, including yesterday's DEC Alpha installer and bootloader details improved. So 33 build variants, they are mostly CPU architectures, so we support 28ish or so, like nearly all. Shall I subscribe if we also should support the last. So what do we support? DEC Alpha, of course. So the file name includes what kind of build type it is, right? Usually minimal desktop or minimal Firefox and stuff, minimal desktop or minimal Xorg. So either very minimal, like AVR32 only embedded, embedded Xorg, of course, the basic Xorg, X11 set, basic desktop with a little bit more, including XFCE, and then depending on the architecture, because for some architectures it simply doesn't make sense or is totally unsupported. I try always to unbreak Firefox, but each time I make one step forward and unbreak Firefox for something, like MIPS, UltraSpark, PowerPC, the upstream maintainers break it even more. So yeah, share, like, subscribe, Patreon, GoFundMe, YouTube, membership, GitHub sponsorship, or OnlyFans, or whatever you fancy in between, or just PayPal, good old-fashioned PayPal donations. So DEC Alpha, ARC, yes, that is a CPU architecture, usually a soft-core, I believe. And I believe it was also used by Intel in earlier management and whatever stuff. ARM64, so the sorting is, of course, alphabetically, numerically sorted. So while it would make sense for ARM version whatever, like, okay, we could name ARM64 version 8 or so, but this is why the order doesn't make the most sense. It's just alphabetically sorted. So ARM64, of course, for the latest and greatest. For example, Apple Silicon or other 64-bit ARM, even the PinePhone. Minimal Firefox, and then various ARM flavors. And that is where 33 build variants, like 3 for 32-bit ARM, because. So that is ARM version 5 TE, T is thumb, and E was whatever. What was it extended? Thumbs, floating point, who cares? Something. ARM version 6, so I've intentionally chosen some variants, so some in the middle, because there's also big endianess ARM, so the big endianess flavor from us you get for ARM version 6, so that we have ARM version 5, ARM version 6, and ARM version 7 tested, and ARM version 7 you get, of course, again for little endianess. Then AVR32 for this obsolete and otherwise unsupported embedded architecture from Atmel, HPPA RISC, HPPA 64, mostly for the kernel. So for some, if you have a Hewlett-Packard Precision architecture, for the newer ones, or some of the 64-bit newer ones, only boot within 64-bit kernel, so be sure to choose the right one. Intel Itanium IA64 of this otherwise also obsolete and done architecture, soon only supported by us, obviously. Long or Loong Arch, the Chinese relatively new MIPS-inspired ISA. Motorola 68K, I believe 68030 or something of that sort. If you want to boot on an Atari, Amiga, not sure which we support, or Macintosh. Some of them are supported, or Sun, very early Sun. Microblaze, MIPS, so that is Big Endian, of course, right? In ARM, the default is Little Endian. For MIPS, the historic default is Big Endian, so Big Endian MIPS, Minimal Desktop, GCC, libc, MIPS 64, for example, IP30, SJ Octane. You can use it on others, but then you need to bring your own kernel, right? This kernel currently is hard compiled for, because Linux kernel, single address space monolithic configuration stuff. For this historic MIPS things, I don't like it as well, but that's what it is. You get one architecture support per kernel. MIPSEL for that Endianness, little Endianness flavor, like the CI20, Imagination Technologies, CI20 of those little Endian embedded variants. NEOS 2, OpenRISC for this, one could say RISC-V, predecessor of OpenRISC either, although now with RISC-V a little bit falling. I mean, it's relatively newish, the one, like sort of one of the initial earlier, not, I don't know if the initial, but one of the early and initial open source reduced instruction set embedded ISAs. Then PowerPC, so that is 32-bit, right? If you want to run this on a 32-bit Macintosh, IBM P-Series, PowerPC, IBM B50, and some such prep or whatever, that would be that, right? PowerPC 64, so that is 64, but with 32-bit userland for optimizing cache and memory for early Apple IBM 970, aka also otherwise known as G5 or P3. So that you have a 64-bit compiler and a 64-bit kernel, but make a little bit more efficient use of user space. Memory, then latest and greatest state-of-the-art IBM Open Power, PowerPC 6, 7 or whatever, 8 and up, 9, 10, 11, whatever the latest might be. I tested this on a tie-in Open Power, Power 8, I believe. 64-bit Little Endian for IBM, joining the dark side of Little Endian and Little Endian 2, then RISC-V for this new embedded subset, not very many 32-bit, but if you run this on an FPGA, Ulix 3S or others, that would be that. Otherwise, if you run latest and greatest unmatched RISC-V desktop on your Hi5, Sci5 unmatched RISC-V board, that would be RISC-V x64, minimal Firefox tested, previous video, right? Made it quite some news cycles there with RDNA2, graphic acceleration. Then S390X for this IBM mainframe, also inspired stuff, yes, that works. Then 32-bit Spark, that is using a little bit older stuff to support older Spark. Does not currently support very old Spark Station 1 and 2 and stuff, I think currently. Due to upstream Linux kernel, I don't like it either, but they deleted it because now YOLO, only we are the last 2 years. So if you have a Spark Station 5 or newer, 32-bit Spark, then Spark 64, so that is new. We previously historically built Spark 64 32, that is 32-bit userland, similar to PowerPC 32-bit pointers. And now new is Spark 64, pure 64, or at least not pure, but default, so you have libgcc, libatomic and stuff, or flip standard C++ and stuff, but defaulting to 64 user space. Also further Sun for V virtualization, cool thread and stuff, Niagara Falls, T1, T2, T3, T4, what are the others called? SRM, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 and stuff. Then we have Super H, of course, that once upon a time was booting on a Sega Dreamcast, or other such, was it Renesas? Also embedded stuff, right? Some early car stuff, like Japanese car stuff, or other embedded stuff, microwaves and washing machines, IoT things. We're using that. There's also an open source, is it HJ something, open source implementation of that. Then coming to the latest and greatest and infamous super complex instruction set architecture x86. Due to the alphabetically sorting, first x32, that is AMD64, Intel EM extended memory 64T, extended memory 64-bit technology, aka AMD64, but with 32-bit calling convention and pointers, so that you have a similar effect like MIPS, Spark, 64 32-bit userland, right? Very few people support this, right? You get the theme, everything between ancient and vintage and retro, latest and greatest supercomputers, mainframes, and your enthusiast desktop or supercomputer is supported. For x86 we have a couple of more variants, so that is the first. Then the second is now also new because we endlessly work here day and night for not only your viewing pleasure but also your open source enablement, is now new Clang by default, which is, pay attention if you download something, what you download. So now new x86-64 with Clang as default system compiler. I've worked on this over the years. There are a couple of handful other distributions that do something of that or similar or slightly different. I personally not yet the super greatest fan. It's more, it works, it's a technology demonstration. It is just like we patched, configured, hacked, quirked, and SED'd the stuff to work and debugged and so on. So yeah, now we have that, including Rust, Firefox, and so on. And then also x86-64 with Musel instead of glibc, but because it doesn't support everything, currently only desktop without Firefox. It's probably patchable or configurable. Maybe we do this, share, like, subscribe, Patreon, right? Then we have later this year maybe Musel with Firefox. And yeah, we can add variants, right? I mean, if I wanted, I could easily build 40 variants, just it costs electrons and heating the office. Like we could ARM, Clang, Musel is like, yeah, if we wanted to further break Guinness World Records, we are here to party. Then, of course, last but not least, the very last things, probably most popular, of course, alphabetically sorted, right? Most popular x86, minimal, glibc, Firefox, GCC, and last but not least, if you want to enjoy vintage and retro 32-bit x86 stuff like previous videos, Transmitter Crusoe, Efficient, VIA, Intel, Pentium, like previous videos, Sony Vario P, 32-bit, Atom, Intel Atom, or just, yeah, 486. Actually, why do I not have the minimal? Actually, I need to add a note. This should actually, we actually should include the optimization stuff. So yeah, there you have it. And again, a reminder, an exclusive 24-hour window starting now. If you report something the next 12-ish hours, I might still be able to fix and improve something. There are already initial reports for PS3 not amazing anymore because on a constant change and regressions. Maybe I'll look into that. And otherwise, yeah, if you find something, some architectures still might require a quirk or another. As we noticed yesterday, I wasn't aware that Util-Linux fdisk doesn't currently create BSD labels as advertised in the man page with, what was it, B for BSD labels? Or something of that sort. Maybe broken for 15 years since 2000, what was it, 5? So maybe we patch those someday, but not today. So be aware that due to upstream peak bugs, I'm sorry, I try. One more thing every day, like one more thing squared. It's like, because usually I do more than one thing. Like even if I do dozen things a day, live day and night, from the couch and stuff and under the tree, even if I fix a dozen things a day, at the end, like our release is still 6 months TM delayed, and there are still one more things like, did you know if disk has broken BSD labels for DEC alpha? Yeah. So yeah, currently creates as parted as soon as this video, but if you have a DEC alpha, you might be aware of that. And if you want that if you want to support me, contribute here, and that I spend even more time fixing even more bugs in upstream's open source stuff, then again, don't forget to super thank, super chat, membership, Patreon, GitHub sponsor, or just send running with PayPal, because compiling 33 architectures not only takes some electrons, but actually also significant amount of time of my last 25 years. But yeah, I hope you enjoy this and learn something. Download your favorite ISO, maybe comment below, comment, share, like, subscribe, and comment below what do you like the most. That it's minimal, that it's text mode installable, that it now ships usually with most ISOs with XF86 by default, that it still supports your vintage and retro, Spark, MIPS, SGR10, P3, or just because you have variants that otherwise nobody else supports or very few supports, and so on and so on. But yeah, as I tweeted yesterday on Shitter, like one Linux distribution, 33 freaking Linux distribution, and all built with love here on YouTube by us and our data AI. Why is the face cam flickering? I have no idea what you mean with flickering. Maybe it is possible that if you mean with flickering interpolation noise, if either you mean focusing or stuff, but if you mean flickering, I might have for the 4K streams changed to bilinear filtering. I wasn't aware that it causes pixel flickering that irritates you. I can certainly, because obviously I didn't want to expensively. Also, yeah, that are true. That are true experts. You can't apparently. Where's even the freaking interpolation setting? I am at video. Yeah, you can't. You can't change the interpolation. Of course, you can't change the like 2023 award-winning software. Back in a second with change interpolation to make you happy. Oh, maybe it's better or not. Maybe it needs a restart. And welcome everyone. So, question there: is there a document or best practice to submit fixes to broken URLs? I can try to do it for you. I just don't want to mess things up. And Yothi is happy now. Yeah, probably that was it. Maybe. I mean, in my preview it still looks flickery, but yeah. I mean, you can, if it depends what you prefer. Basically, I don't care. Send it how you want. Send me in private email mailing list, Discord, YouTube comments. I try to monitor. Also, actually, URLs probably don't work well with YouTube comments because YouTube somehow auto deletes them without allowing me to review them. So, otherwise, GitHub. It would, if you like GitHub. You could make one if you have dozens of URL fixes, which by the way do you mean? Do you mean our package data? Do you mean the website or the package metadata? But in any case, probably best open one GitHub issue and not like 200. And it's probably otherwise not best practice because one issue per issue, but I'd rather have one issue with 200 URL than going through 200 issues with similar small typos and migrations. Anyway, that is a quick summary of this amazing set. As you see on the website, it's not yet announced. So again, that is your membership subscribers, exclusives, first look here. And yeah, otherwise 32-bit Rust-C, more big endian. Yeah, lots of we have done tons of stuff. We have now automated partitioning. That's probably still a bit beta, but mostly works except the DEC alpha and maybe also HPPA risk might need. Plus, if the automatic partitioning, basically you can try the automated partitioning, which is now there to avoid people shooting themselves into the food, creating stuff that doesn't boot for them. It's only supporting x86 ARM or EFI and Sun and stuff. We will further improve this, right? And also we, I believe, have fixed grub to booting on Spark 64. So lots and lots of new stuff, and including booting from encrypted LVM. Of course, all variants, previous video, encrypted, root, swap, encrypted LVM, and so even resuming, we even went the extra mile of supporting resuming from encrypted partitions and LVM. And I tested this, yes, it works, which is amazing. But also, pro tip, if you want a fully disk encrypted thing, then in T2 choose encrypted LVM or whatever the thing is called. Then you get the physical volume encrypted and can dynamically resize stuff on top of this fully encrypted and have the suspend to disk encrypted. And yeah, another super amazing thing, which probably I should make a dedicated video. So basically the problem is of 25 years in the last 4.5 years live on YouTube. We add here so much amazing stuff. Maybe one thing very few other distributions, if any, have is installation KEXCLUSIV, which is super amazing. Sounds super simple, but it's so amazing you install, and at the end, KEXCLUSIV is the running system. Leave in the comments below if any other distribution has that, maybe not. I didn't expect it, that I love it so much, but man, that's the best invention since sliced bread, and that says a lot. Super snappy, super nice, no pause, especially you do this in the data center, root server and stuff. You have your log in there, KEXCLUSIV, and boom, without waiting for the BIOS, hoping that your stuff comes back up and so on. So yeah, I'm thrilled. I hope you're happy too. Don't forget to share, subscribe, have a good day or night, and I hope to see you soon for all the continuation. And in 24 to 48 hours official release, press announcements, and until then, looking forward to comments, GitHub issues, Discord messages, or an email. See you next time for all this next fun stuff to come.